It's the London Lowdown.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the London Lowdown podcast, which is a branch of the weekly armchair kickoff. I'm your host today, Sean Maroney, and I'm joined by podcast regular Steve McGrath, massive Spurs fan. How are you tonight, Steve?
I could be better, but I'm not as down in the dumps as an awful lot of my fellow Spurs fans seem to be.
Yeah. No, it's Chelsea been through it the last couple of weeks now. It's just finally starting to turn around, so I know how you feel. I'll start off with just reflecting on the match last night, because it's still fresh in the head. It's only happened last night. What are your thoughts on how the game went for Spurs?
Like, you see, with all the uproar and stuff like that was going on, like I was saying, about the game itself, like if you look at it, we never beat Chelsea. Do you know? Like, just like in the last couple of years, we got a few good results against you, but like historically, like there's just a hoodoo over us, like with Chelsea. So like I like 1-0 and a penalty. I mean, to me, is a case of like that one individual error from Dyer, like that's all was the difference, really. I mean, like we had so like both teams like created very few clear cut chances, you know. So I mean, I'm disappointed in general, because your morale will be fairly low as a fan, like when you've lost 3 games on the trot, like just like no matter the opposition, like 2 of those 3 was like Liverpool and Chelsea, you know. So, but still, like 3 games on the trot, you do start to kind of like be a little bit downtrodden about it. But I'm not at a wit's end or anything like that yet. I suppose for ye, like really good, like for ye to get the points, like for Tuchel as well. I mean, like, what did you think of the way he had approached the game?
Yeah, so it's like it's a common theme between the 3 games we played so far. It's just like there's a lot of the ball in that, but like what we're lacking so far, which I think will come in the end in time, is just that cutting edge. And like you said, like none of the teams created many chances. Like, and for a lot of the ball that Chelsea had, they didn't create too much. Hopefully over time it'll be sorted. Like, but it's just in the 3 games so far with them, it's just very solid. We're not giving away much at the back in that, and like I said, a lot of possession. It's a lot more organised than when we had Lampard there. I think there is a big difference so far, and just the counter press and everything. But the one thing that worried me again last night is just for all the ball he had, just couldn't get a second goal to kill off the game. And like you can see there, when Spurs came at us there the last 10-15 minutes, he caused a lot of problems. Like, and the result could have went either way in the last 15 minutes. And it could worry me a small bit. Unless it changes going forward, like, but that's like it was just Spurs were dangerous there in the last 10 minutes. They could have easily scored 1 of 2 goals,
and that's what kills us. Like, I mean, that's you'll see. I speak to any Spurs fan, and like I would say I would be quite tolerant of the style we're playing at the moment. I get that it's not pretty to watch, but I 100% understand the fundamentals behind it. But what's really, I suppose, frustrating for Spurs fans is when in the last 10 minutes of games, when we start to then react and go and give it a go, we see how dangerous we could actually be. And it's like, Jesus, if we did that for 90 minutes, you know, it would be very different. I mean, like that Vinicius chance. Like, I don't know, how does a striker do that? Do you know? I mean, that should have been absolutely dead and buried there and then, you know. I get what he was trying to do to flick it into that side of the net, but I mean, all he had to do, if he just closed his eyes and let the ball hit him in the face, it probably would have went in. You know,
he was that close. Yeah.
But like, it just, whereas, as I keep saying, like, I mean, Jose's style is obviously don't concede. Because look, at the end of the day, if you don't concede, you can't lose.
Yeah.
So I get that, but when your whole tactics and your game's approach is built upon the weakest part of your team, then you're struggling there. I mean, like, look at last night. Like Ben Davies, like he doesn't start for. I think, definitely doesn't start. Obviously for a top half Premier League team. I'd struggle to see what Premier League team he would start for, to be honest. So that to me, like, is like, you can see. I think it was at 15, 20 minutes into the game, like 71% or something of the attacks that G made were down that side of the pitch.
Yeah, we said it before the game. We knew straight away that he was going to be targeted. Like, especially with James and that in the flank.
Reece James was all over him. Like, and you can see. I think it was only like 5 minutes into the game, Davies got completely caught out on the turn from James, and had to give away a corner. So it's really frustrating. I think when we try and hang on like that, I think like it looks as if there's no, like Glenn Hoddle said last night on BT Sports that even when Spurs do get the ball, it looks as if they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, that's it was kind of a recurring team last night. And watching the game.
But in the same respect, that's exactly how Chelsea looked under Lampard.
100%.
And I think that's the big difference. Even like, because I haven't watched Chelsea since Lampard left, other than just like little clips and bits and there. That was obviously the first time I've seen you play, fully, and like it seemed as if like you had a plan. It seemed as if like the stuff that you were doing on the pitch was stuff that you knew how to do because you had done it in training.
No, 100%. Yeah, there's a big difference there since Tuchel came in from a Lampard. It's a lot more organised than that, and like it's a lot better drilled and everything. Like I'm actually I know a lot of Chelsea fans might disagree, but I think when it comes to it, Kante might struggle to get back into that pivot if we stay with three at the back, because like Kovacic and Jorginho, they're a lot better at bringing that ball forward and like technical wise, like playing themselves out of trouble. And Kante, even when you see he came on annoyingly back from injury and kind of probably a bit of a rush back, but when he came on against Spurs, like Spurs were on top straight away when he came in and Werner switched out to the wing. Like, but yeah, I just think the players he has playing these three games kind of they're buying into his system and what he wants to do, and it looks a lot better on the field. Keane, Weekly Armchair Kickoff Podcast, left a comment thinking Ben Davies would start for Sheffield United and Burnley. Would he start over Enda Stevens as in a wing back position?
As a wing back, forget it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like,
yeah.
When Jose came in, first off, and in his Ben Davies got injured in his first game when we bet West Ham, and Jose said he was really disappointed because he said Ben Davies was quite important to his setup.
Yeah,
which at the time it was, because what he did when Jose came in first, what he did was he had Davies playing basically as a third centre back. So we basically had three centre backs, and then Aurier on the right was basically a right winger.
Yeah. So
what that meant was we always had three back, and Aurier was given the license then to go on, push on. But Davies got injured in the first game, and then he was out for a couple of months after that. But he hasn't implemented that same system. Like Ben Davies works in that system, that setup. I'm not saying that. I'm absolutely not saying that he's a Premier League caliber left back or anything. But like he works. It works in that where all he's asked to do is the basics of defending. You know, but like he doesn't have great technical ability at all. He doesn't have pace. He's so just like he gets caught out on the turn so quickly, so easily. That I just cannot wait till Reguilon is back.
Yeah, no, brilliant player, Reguilon. Like he'll be a big improvement on the left hand side when he's back. But like you were saying on the turn and that there a couple of times yesterday where James had the ball and Davis was wicked close to him, but just in split second he was gone. Like, and Davis was nowhere near him. Like a couple of 1-2s past him, and he's just caught. It's happened a few times yesterday, but just when we're talking about like Spurs there and like Mourinho's tactics and everything, we're going to go on to the next point. We're going to speak about Mourinho, should he be given time with Spurs and that. But like, I completely agree. I get what he's trying to do. I know, like you said, a lot of people have problems with managers set up that way nowadays. But like, the only problem that I had yesterday watching Spurs was there was a few times, and like in the first half, where the players just didn't seem to be putting in the effort. No, they were jogging around and that stuff. That's what bothered me. It wasn't nothing to do with because I obviously been a Chelsea fan. I've seen it for years under Mourinho. We were here. I loved it when we were here winning stuff, sitting back, hitting teams in the counter or whatever. But like, that's why I completely understand what you're saying, like, and what he's trying to do there. But it's just yesterday I've seen that half-arsed effort from some of the players for a lot of the game. That's what bothered me. But yeah, I don't see, like you said, like, there's a big hurrah on Twitter last night about Mourinho going that I just don't see the point in like getting rid of him now and down the tools. Give him a chance, like, I think. But what's your opinion on the whole thing? And
like, I'm not like someone put it. I seen it on Twitter last night. Someone put it best. It says like, I'm not Jose out, but I'm running out of reasons to be Jose in.
Yeah.
But I'm very, very aware of. And I see a lot of fans on the outside aren't. They're saying, "Oh, look, the football he's playing is terrible. Like, he should be gone. Get rid of him. He's killing the club." Like, DMs on Twitter last night, everything saying like, "He has to go, lad. He has to go." Like, it's what? But who comes in? Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, a massive part of what's happening with us now is still the fact that, oh, can you believe it? Spurs were the first club to go a window without buying a player. Spurs were the first club to go a whole season without buying a player. Right after we'd had one of our best ever seasons and sold the best right back in the league at the time for 50 million.
Yeah.
Do you know? So, like, 7 players last night in that starting 11 were in the starting 11 in 2016. Like, there isn't another club in the top flight.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
That many.
Yeah.
Do you know? So it's stale. So when you're saying like the players, they look like they're not playing for the manager and this and that, like, a lot of them are just, they're there too long.
Yeah.
Like, they're bang average anyway, but they're just there too long. Like, I think like the only reason you should have someone at your club that long is if they're like iconic or like Lampard.
Yeah.
or that kind of way. Like,
yeah, like, and if they're not iconic, like a player, I just think of, say, Azpilicueta, who's always going to give his like best annoyed. He'll never complain. Like, Azpilicueta hasn't at the start of the year hasn't played too much, and he'll be there to offer advice to the younger players and that, and he'll always give his best. Like if it's a player like that, like, but yeah, I know, I get what you're saying.
Like, Eric Lamela is nearly due a testimonial.
Yeah.
You know, so like we have, like, if you look at last night with Celtic, I mean, Hugo Lloris, like, he's the one who said, yes, out of them all, he's the club captain. He's been unbelievable for us. He could have easily gone on to much bigger clubs in that time, and he didn't. He stuck around. He's 34 now, so, you know, I think we'll get probably maybe next season out of him, and he'll probably look to go back to France for the last season or so, maybe over to MLS.
Yeah.
Dyer, like, I have absolutely, like, stood my ground on Eric Dyer for so long, saying no, I still think there's a quality player in there. I still think there's a chance for him, but I don't think Dyer's good enough. Like, yeah, would you have him in the Chelsea starting 11?
No, but like, I'm being biased. I just don't like him with ears. Just like, not as a player. Like, I never liked him, man. Like, he's kind of like, obviously because of Chelsea and Spurs, like, the rivalry there, like, but no, I wouldn't have him in the Chelsea 11. If you're playing him at centre back, well, if you're playing 3 at the back, he might get in there, but like, still at the back, no.
He costs us almost a goal every 2 games. Do you know, like, if you look at like the Liverpool one, the first Liverpool goal the other night, yes, Lloris probably should have claimed it, but Dyer just stood there and watched the ball pass him as Firmino heard in.
Yeah.
A lot of the set piece goals that we've conceded was Dyer getting out jumped by people who were 5'9".
Yeah, no, I remember there was one, I can't remember which club, one kind of the lower table clubs during the year. I remember him specifically being caught out of a set piece. Like
Fulham.
Yeah, it was Fulham. Yeah, Fulham. Yeah.
And even like if you look, even go back as far as like the Newcastle game, like that handball, I don't know, that just seemed to break him. After that, he was just absolute pony. After that, you know,
was that the harsh handball? Yeah.
The one where like he had his back turned and everything. But like the one that was so bad that they decided to change the rules after it.
Yeah. That's the one I was thinking. Yeah.
So like, look, I want Jose there, but I don't want those players there. And like this all falls back on like the board, Daniel Levy, Joe Lewis, the owner. It's on them because like Pochettino, like he wanted, like he said we would have to go through a painful rebuild. Painful, obviously, being that we'd have to say goodbye to players that like we felt like ties to, you know. He had an interview with Gary Lineker. I don't know, was it BT or BBC, but Gary Lineker mentioned the stadium, you know, and he said like you have a beautiful new home, you know, and Pochettino said, yeah, but with such a beautiful home, you maybe need some beautiful furniture, you know.
I remember that quote. Yeah,
do you know? So and that's what he alluded to. He basically, Pochettino knew that he'd gotten everything he could out of that squad of players, and he had. Yeah. He definitely had.
Yeah, definitely.
He had absolutely earned the right to a rebuild, and Daniel Levy wouldn't do it. And when when Poch got the boot, yes, we hadn't played well since after Christmas that year, but the Champions League run kind of papered over those cracks.
Yeah,
he still got us in top four, but then we had that poor run, and it was the first real poor run of Poch's reign since he came in. And like I think he I think like it was like one of those cases where there was just Levy always wanted Mourinho as a Spurs manager. Always. He tried before to get him and he couldn't. So I think that was something that he wanted to satisfy, you know, his own personal kind of goal of having Jose Mourinho manage Spurs. So but he figured that firing Poch and bringing in Jose would be cheaper than buying new players. So he thought that Jose Mourinho would come in and squeeze more out of the squad that was there.
And it's like the squad's going to have to be fixed anyway, like regardless. So I know, but Poch definitely did deserve to stay there for a rebuild. Not even have to stay, but in the summer, like you said, that was the summer. Like, did you bring in any players after the Champions League final in that summer?
Ndombele, Lo Celso on loan at the time, but what we didn't do, what we haven't done this summer, and what we didn't do in January was clear out the dead wood.
Shift players.
Like over the years, remember I put into the group chat like the list of defenders that Spurs have bought in the last 7 years. Absolutely shocking. 160 million. So like they spent 160 million there, and they also sold Kyle Walker for 50 million. And what they brought in, Reguilon, yes, unbelievable. But aside from that, like Sanchez is 40 million. It's just no, Sanchez isn't good enough.
Is he reckless? Like, I haven't seen him play much since he went as far as.
He's the kind of player that would go to Spain or go to Germany or something, and he would be unbelievable. But he's not a Premier League center. It's like, do you remember Fazio? Like, if there's any Spurs fans watching now, they think that's like a swear word. But like, he was an absolute calamity at Spurs. He was dreadful. And we loaned him out to Roma, and he was in the Serie A team of the year.
And he's doing well enough over there now, as far as I know.
So like, and that's not a dig at Serie A or anything like that. It's a completely different style. It just doesn't suit him in the Premier League. But like, we paid 40 million for him at the time when 40 million for a defender was colossal money. Like, you know.
I actually didn't know you'd pay 40 for him.
40 million, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like, when when someone like I understand if anyone said to me, Mourinho has to go, I get it, and I won't argue with them. I'll just say, look, I think he should stay because, you know, but it's definitely something to do with that whatever happened like in that West Ham game, he doesn't trust the players. And I think as a result of that now, I think the players are too afraid to make mistakes. I think they got absolutely torn apart by him after that game. You can see it in his face after the game. And I feel that now the players have a bit of fear in them to make a mistake. And I think they see like how say how Delhi been left out, how say Ndombele last season, and how like say Winks, for example, has been dropped out. So I guess players are kind of too afraid to make mistakes. So a lot of it is on the manager. I get that, yeah, but I still think an awful lot of it is, as you saw last night, the motivation of the players themselves. Like I know people will argue and say it's down to the manager to motivate the players. It isn't really. The London derby. You're telling me you can't get motivated for a London derby?
Yeah.
Do you know the Liverpool game? You're telling me Spurs playing Liverpool at home and the players can't get motivated themselves?
Yeah, like the champions.
Come on.
Like you should be looking to prove a point. Like completely. I definitely agree with that. Like, but
I guess for you, I suppose, like it's just like a breath of fresh air at the moment, really, is it?
Yeah, no, completely. Like, because one of the points you made there was if Mourinho goes, who are you going to get in? And like I felt the same way in Lampard went. Like, and like a couple of weeks beforehand, you remember in the group chat we're on about Tuchel and stuff. Like, I wasn't so sure on him. It was only like when you start getting linked, you start looking into like managers and stuff. He started to kind of warm on me, like, but now since he's come in, like he's an absolute, like you said, a breath of fresh air. Like he's just like even on the field has been literally great. Like obviously the team is well organised, the team look up for it and everything, but it's just off the field in like press conferences the whole lot. He seems
I watched two of his press conferences now, and I have to say, like he comes across as a good guy, like, you know.
Yeah, he's nailing all the press conferences so far, and just kind of the vibes off of the press conference kind of give me like the vibe that he's really good at players and he knows how to bond with players and get him firing and stuff. But it's just it's a lot better than when Lampard was there. Lampard, one of my big problems with Lampard was like, and this might be something minor now to some people, but like when he was on the line, there's a lot of sitting there, arms folded and stuff, never driving players on, but straight away Tuchel's up, and it's not even the cinematics of what Klopp and Conte are doing, like running up and down the line and that. It's just there encouraging the players and always offering your voice, and that it makes a big difference, and the team seems a lot more organised under them.
To be there, like to give a well done as well as what are you doing, like, you know?
Or there's a sub coming on or off, just kind of patting the back the whole lot. Like we never seen that out of Lampard. Like I watched him. Like I obviously love Lampard. I've watched him. We had a good year last year under him with the transfer ban and that, but I've just seen it too much, and like this, he's not up there being vocal in that, and I think it makes a big difference in teams. But if you asked me a couple of weeks ago, I was saying season's a bit of a write-off, but as of now, we're back in the hunt for top four and that, like, and it should be a good battle to the end. And hopefully, if that Champions League game against Atletico, if that does turn to one leg, hopefully it might be able to get over the line in that, because I think we got the toughest draw possible for a team that won the group. But hopefully enough with the one leg, they won't be kind of able to play their usual style of like catching you over.
Yeah, they'll have to go for it, like,
yeah, hopefully it'll draw them out, and hopefully we'll be able to get over the line. But like, I don't think we'll win the Champions League, but if we can get past Atletico, who knows how far you can go, like. But
that's the contrast. Like, I mean, like a lot of people are saying, like, geez, Chelsea are on the up now. They're sniffing around the top four, like, you know. And look at it. Whereas, like, we've a game in hand, and we're 3 points behind you.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, no, fair enough. Our game in hand is, I think it's away to Villa, which isn't set in stone either. But they seem to have gone off the boil a little too, like, so.
Yeah. No, it's like that's kind of like, obviously yesterday when the match was over, I was kind of like reacting the same way as a lot of people on Twitter were, and I was kind of thinking that way. But then I looked at the league table and I've seen how close it still is. The winner game in hand and they're level on points are still there, and like everyone's touting Chelsea to be, well, I agree. Chelsea are back in the hunt for top four and they're looking good. Like, but if you win your game in hand, you're back level with a team that everyone else thinks is very close to top four.
Yeah,
so.
Like I don't see us getting top four. No, I was very confident at the start of the year, but from what I've seen now, I don't think we will. I think like the resurgence of United was a little bit unexpected as well. I feel, but I don't know. I think it's going. I think Leicester will actually do it this year.
They're looking good, to be fair. Yeah.
I think the top four that you're looking at now, I think, are going to be the four teams in the top four. What order? I don't know, but I think it's certainly going to be. It's mad because like you can't picture like Liverpool finishing fourth.
Yeah. So as bad as they've been, it's Liverpool. Like,
despite everything,
it's Liverpool. Yeah, Klopp's still there, top manager. So, like, it's the one thing that I will hold to Spurs. Like, I know people are saying they're on the way down that, and like they're giving out Mourinho's style of play, but he does have the experience. Like, and he's been there before. Like, I know he's usually winning titles and stuff, but he's been there before. Chelsea, kind of where they were just a bit below the top teams in the season, and he's making sure to get more line and get them into that top four. So he's done it before, and he has the caliber. He's a top caliber coach. So
yeah, like I think I know like every club has injuries as well, but I mean like the Lo Celso for us, like he was just starting to gel. He was just starting to get into his stride. He got the goal against City when he just come off. It was his first touch of the ball, and it was a goal. And he was just starting to kind of come around to being that creative spark in the team. And then he got injured again. I don't know if you've seen the bits about Mourinho and Ledley King called to Delhi.
No, I didn't
yesterday.
See that,
Not yesterday. Wednesday.
Yeah,
or was it the day after the transfer window? Sorry, Tuesday, second. Yeah, Tuesday, and they said that. So he had a sit down, and he said both of them found some very common ground, and that Jose said that there's always going to be room for a good Dele Alli in the team.
Yeah.
He said, but but we need the good Dele Alli.
Yeah.
And then he said in his press conference that a lot of the time it was Ndombele or Dele, but now he said that Ndombele has gotten his stamina and fitness up to the fact that he can play as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah,
and he can cover that ground.
And he trusts him.
It's a case of exactly. So he said it can now be a case of Dele and Ndombele.
Yeah,
and that for me, that's I would love to see that, say like that 4-2-3-1. Ndombele and Højbjerg in the middle, and Dele as a 10, and then Son, Bergwijn, but I'm not convinced of Bergwijn. Ali was quality. Ali can be quality, but he hasn't been quality for 12 months, and that's the concern. Anytime he's gotten into the team, he hasn't done anything to show that he should be starting. I think what's wrong with him is his demeanor on the pitch looks like he doesn't give a shit. Do you know? He looks like not bothered, and like Mourinho lost the plot with him. I can't remember what game it was where he tried to flick and lost the ball. And that immediately started a counter-attack for the opposition that they almost scored from. And he was pulled off the pitch a minute or two after that. But like under Pochettino, like Dele was allowed to do that. And yes, he lost possession once or twice with his flicks and stuff like that, but he was allowed to do it because when it worked really well. You know, and his little flicks and stuff like that. Like, I mean, because Dele's one of those players that, like, whatever he has to do it in 2, maximum 3 touches. After that, he's lost his. That's like his special power. Do you know what I mean? It's the first time flick or pass or take 2 touches, like take it around or nutmeg a player and then pass it on, or lovely little dink over the top or something. But he he can't run on and beat men with the ball. You know, he won't be like that, like a winger. So what you won't have from Delhi is him back on our own 18-yard box, defending. You know.
Yeah.
But what you will have is, but I think that's what Mourinho meant then when he said that Ndombele could play the defensive midfield role to basically make up for the fact that Delhi won't be tracking back.
Yeah.
And I think Mourinho has come to the realization now that like he is a missing link, because we can defend all we want, and we can try and counter all we want. But you saw yourself last night there. Now we were defending and defending and defending, but then when we actually got the ball, there was no link to the frontman.
Yeah, no, completely. I remember the commentator saying at one stage as well, and it was when he said it, I kind of picked up on it. I'm not sure who had the ball, and it was then obviously Ben Davies aside, like, and he had the ball looked up. There was no one there showing or nothing, like, and it was just a sea of Chelsea players there and all the space in the middle of the field. But
and it was because Davies had the ball, we'll say, just not too far up from the corner flag, and he'd won possession of it, fair enough. But like you had Son or Vinicius like up on the halfway line.
Yeah.
You know, he's not getting it from there. Like, and you had 3 Chelsea players in between that. Whereas I think if Delhi is there, Delhi is kind of going to take up a position where he's going to look for space. Yeah. He won't be back defending, but he'll be making himself available for the ball. And he's the link then to that from the defense to the midfield. Delhi is the one that can play that killer pass, and break the lines for Son or Bergwijn to then run onto.
Yeah, run on. Yeah.
You know, and I think that is key to what we want to achieve under Jose, because like if you look at that tactic he plays and you look back at all the years he was at the likes of Madrid, Inter and Chelsea, look at the defensive leaders he had.
Yeah.
Like he had generational centre halves.
Now what does he have? Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we were to go back to Spurs, we'd say 4 or 5 seasons ago, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. That was the best defensive partnership in the Premier League.
Oh yeah, you know, brilliant that year.
Our final season at White Hart Lane, we went undefeated at home all season, and I think we had the best defense in the league that whole season as well, largely due to Victor Wanyama was just incredible that season. But at the same time, like Alderweireld and Vertonghen were just incredible together. Yeah. So but then after that, again, Vertonghen was started to lose a yard. Like we never replaced. You know, I get that Sanchez was meant to be the one, but like we all knew he wasn't the one. But Levy hasn't done anything to move on it. You know, like look at Gio over the years. Like he had Terry. You know.
Yeah.
And like Gary Cahill, like was immense for you as well. Like
no, he was brilliant. I think he's underrated. Very good centre half, like, and just Chelsea had the fair share centre backs over the year. But like you said there with like Sanchez, like you said, Levy hasn't acted on it, and I know Chelsea's backline was very bad last year. But I know he's old, but at least they went along and they brought in like a Silva this year to try and improve it and that. But like you said, Levy just hasn't moved on Sanchez at all, and he's still floating around there. And like you said, he could go somewhere else and be brilliant, but he's just not there for Spurs really. Like it's not it.
It was in that season, in the 16-17 season, or maybe the season before, we had the youngest squad in the Premier League, and now we have the 16th.
Big change, massive change.
Do you know what I mean? And it's largely down to the fact that like a lot of the players that were there in that youngest squad are still there. 7 years later. You know, 6 years later.
Just looking.
I think I have it there actually. Yeah, so I'm just looking there. So 2014-2015 season we had 2014-15, 2015-16, and 2016-17. We had the youngest squad in the Premier League all 3 seasons, and then in 19-20 we had the 16th.
That's a massive change. Like it's not even gradual. It's not even like going down bit by bit. It's just straight. Yeah,
that's in 3 seasons down to 16. And what that means is you've got some very tired legs.
Yeah,
older legs there.
A few fellas have probably got comfortable as well. Like It's too comfortable.
Exactly, and that's what that leads to, like lackluster performances because like I'm here 7 years now. I mean, they're not going to get rid of me. Sure.
No, exactly. I was looking.
Becca,
Go on, go ahead.
Becca said, what do we both think needs to change? It's a good question. Go on.
Yeah, I don't think like on Chelsea's behalf, I don't think anything has.
You've made the change.
Yeah, for Chelsea, the change. Well, exactly. Lampard has gone. A better manager has come in. Like, and like, I don't mean to disrespect Lampard, but Tuchel is he's a lot more experienced. He's a lot more time in the game and that. But that's the big change for Chelsea. But right now, just nothing else has to change. Just keep plugging away and hopefully keep getting results. And I'm hoping when Europe kicks back in, like Leicester, like they're a lot better. The big difference with Leicester this year, I feel last year was is that Fofana lad centre back. I think Leicester lacked a small bit in the background last year, and that like cost them a bit. But this year now, I'm just hoping when the Europa League comes back, the Thursday, Sunday football, they can start dropping a few points. Then that's my only hope, because I think City, Liverpool, United are dead certs for top four. Like you said, you did not order to be in, but Leicester, they're looking a lot better this year and looking a lot more likely to hold on to that top four place. But I'm just, if there's anyone going to drop out, I'm hoping it's them and Chelsea can pip them. But like we were saying earlier, like Spurs are still doing their game in hand. They're still there with Chelsea as well. And if they can get a run together, you just don't know. What do you think should change or could change for Spurs?
I think like once we have like Jose said it during the week in a I can't remember if it was the pre or post match one, when he was kind of someone asked him about like not playing attacking football or something like that. But he said like Reguilon, Lo Celso, and Kane. I know Kane's only been missing since last week, but it's like those. If you want to play attacking football, that's a lot. Like, and Delhi, he said as well. So I think like we can't really do much in terms of like going all out attack with the current players that we have. But once Delhi is back from injury and Reguilon is back from injury, I think what will have to change is our in-game approach. Like just like there's glimmers of it. Like I mean, like you said yourself last night, last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Like we looked like a threat, and it was because we were knocking balls out wide. We were like making the right passes. We had triangles going. There was someone there to receive the ball, and someone made a little run in behind. And the first decent cross in the whole game that we put into the box, Vinicius had the biggest chance of the game for us.
Yeah.
So I think what has to change for Spurs is I think Mourinho needs to like just like I'm not saying like change his style altogether because he's never going to do that. But I think he just needs to like turn it back, like turn the defense. Like he has the defense turned up to 10 at the moment. Maybe just put it back to like a 7. Do you know? If it was on FIFA, I'd be putting the sliders on like defense and attack. I'd be putting the attack slider up a little bit more. You know? Because it's just look. I get it. I mean, like it's only so long before a player like Son or Kane or Bergwijn or whoever slots into that right wing role, like will get tired of like being picked because of their defensive work rate. Yeah, that's not why you play as a winger, like you know, or centre forward or the midfielder. Like you're not there because you'll track back and defend. Yeah, you want to be picked on the basis that in training during the week you were seen like knocking the ball around players, taking them on, whipping balls into the box or cutting inside and tucking them in the corner, you know. So I think that's like it's tough for them, I say mentally even. Yeah. To go out there and like you'll say stifled, but like I understand again the logic behind what Jose wants to do. He wants them to be able to track back and the work rate. Like I mean, if you look at Leeds, for example, I'm not saying Leeds are the foundation for or the one to watch, like, but what I'm saying is the work rate of their players is incredible.
It's unbelievable. Yeah,
it is unbelievable. And that is basically, I know, like, look, Bielsa he's Pochettino's mentor, but that is what led to Spurs being Spurs under Pochettino was the work rate. Yeah. But what happened was, towards the end, the players were burnt out and they were stale from having the same squad for so long that they didn't have the same intensity in them. And because of that, then Pochettino couldn't play the high press style that he was always doing before, and the football got boring under Poch as well.
Yeah.
And that's where we gave up a lot of the ball and we started to lose games. And that's kind of what's wrong at the moment, is that we're giving up too much of the ball. Like we give possession in our games, we're always the lower side of the possession table. And I know people are saying like, oh Jesus, Liverpool dominated you, they had 70% possession. It's like, but if you're giving a team 70% of the possession, then that stat is a moot point, you know? Like if Liverpool had taken the ball off of us all the time and kept it from us, like while we constantly try to win it back, then I'd say fair enough. But like the idea was to give them 70% of the possession because we banked on them not doing much with it, you know. And again, individual errors are absolutely killing us in games, absolutely killing us. But like we would expect that the level of centre half, for example, that you would have at Spurs would be like, I wouldn't say like won't make, because like everyone makes mistakes, but the level, the amount of them wouldn't be as high as they are.
Yeah, right, it's kept to a minimum. Like
like I would absolutely have loved Thiago at Spurs, loved it.
Yeah, no, he's unbelievable. Like I was delighted when we got him there in the summer. I was very optimistic with him, but actually I didn't even think he'd be as good as he is. Like he's still up to the pace, still looks after himself. He's just like, even like, I know Christensen didn't do too bad and he came on yesterday, but you can see kind of the last 15-20 minutes when Spurs come into it. Like if Thiago's on, like you would have still got a few of your chances when you pushed us and that, but I would have been able to watch the game not on the edge of my seat if Silva was still on. Like it's just when he was gone off, I was always a bit nervous. Said it in the group chat, like I always had a bad feeling when he went off. Just what he brings to the defense, like organization wise and everything. It's unbelievable. Like, and
I think the last time I was on the edge of my seat.
Oh no, it's just in the summer now, and he brought him in. Just there was a lot of banter and that from fans and that, just about his age and he won't be able to cover in the Premier League. But apart from apart from that slip against West Brom the first game, he's been immense. Like,
I knew he would be top player. Like I was like he's ancient and he's been in France. Do you know what I mean? Like he hasn't got it. Like you just knew by him that he would, like, you know. And he's absolutely, he would have seen a lot of that criticisms. And I think he's a lot of what he's doing now is like just trying to prove points. Yeah,
no, because if you see his wife now and that, they're always on social media and it's like the football mad, the wife and the kids and stuff, and she comments on a lot of stuff. So he definitely would have seen a lot of that, like he said. But just like kind of thinking, like, I do like Zuma, but he has a very rash side to him. But it's just when he's in beside Silva, he's like, it's a lot more reassuring, and that he kind of keeps him under check and that. But if he wasn't there, I'd be kind of a bit worried about Zuma. I think if you want to win a league title, I'm not sure Zuma is a centre half you'd have starting either. Be a good option from the bench, like, but yeah, I just think Silva makes that massive difference, and if he has like a Silva in there, it'd make a big difference.
Yeah, I think, like, I know there was mad rumours going. I don't know like how true it would be, like that Mourinho was onto Ramos and all this, like, but that's what we need, you know.
Yeah.
And definitely. Like, I suppose the problem for us is that for us to get a player like that, I mean, we're not a Chelsea. Or we're not like a United, or do you know what I mean? So, and we're not run like Arsenal, where we're going to throw 350 grand a week at someone like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get
like, but even like he's probably on that at Chelsea. Do you know? But like, we're not going to do that. And that's not our structure, because like the issue there is then if we were to do that, well then Kane has to get that money. Son has to get that money. Do you know? So Levy won't ever do that.
That happened with United, with Alexis and all that as well for a long while. Like,
yeah. So I think we definitely need that commanding centre half.
Yeah.
It's killing us. If you look at the set pieces we're conceding, we've conceded the same goal 8 times this year, from just that ball into the box. Even I'm trying to think what game it was. It was the Sheffield United game. Yeah, I think it was where they showed the Mourinho cam after the game. And when that ball was crossed into the box, before the ball was even met by the Sheffield United player, Mourinho turned around and had his hands up in the air. He knew it was gone in.
I remember seeing that clip.
You know?
Yeah.
So he knows. You know. Now I think Joe Rodon looks class. Joe Rodon looks like he's going to be a John Stones. Very comfortable on the ball. Nice bit of pace. He made one little mistake against Liverpool for the third goal against Mane. But I love how Mourinho came straight out after the game and said he was brilliant. He made one mistake. He did, and he said for sure he starts against Brighton for sure.
Yeah.
So
what a scene of Rowan. I like him.
The problem for us against Brighton was that we tried that the 3-5-2 3-4-3 kind of thing. It just like there was the Brighton goal. We had 8 players back, and Brighton it was 5 versus 8, and Brighton completely cut through our lines with that one pass because our wing backs were pushed up so far. There was a massive gap in between centre half and wing back, and that's where they knocked the ball into. So I think we're way better with that 4 at the back.
Yeah, and like I was going to say there, just I completely agree with you on Rodon. Like anytime I've seen him playing, he's looking very good, and could be a breath of fresh air in there as well if he's given a decent run in the team. Like, but like if you got a commanding centre half now and you had him next to Rodon next season, it'll be fairly decent, I think. But it's just the fact of trying to find that commanding centre back who he can get in there. It's just, there's not many of them around now.
There's not, and I think any of the ones that are big and hyped up, like in the last 4 seasons or so, I think clubs have seen the value in a centre half.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to use the example. Obviously, the Van Dijk one is the one everyone will always go to. But look at like Ruben Diaz.
Yeah.
Like we were apparently, like, again, if you believe it or whatever like that, like we had the deal done. He had been spoken to Mourinho and everything, and then City just came in and blew us out of the water money wise. So and I think that's a lot. Again, like another like crib that Spurs fans will have is if you look at in the last few seasons, look at all the nearlies we had. We nearly had Grealish. Only for like we had it basically more or less wrapped up, but then the new owners came in to Villa at the same time, and they cancelled the sale. But that sale probably should have been wrapped up 2 or 3 weeks beforehand. But Daniel Levy was probably haggling over $1 million.
You know him,
Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, like he said, like he's good. He said he cried after the deal broke down for Spurs. So like, and then like Lo Celso was supposed to be our alternative to Fernandes, and it hasn't worked out. I still think there's a great player in him, but again, he's just like he's never injured before until he came to Spurs. It's just madness.
No. Yeah,
but I think like the Dybala thing. Like I mean, like Dybala basically had said goodbye to everyone at Juventus and everything. He said himself that he was sure that it was done. Yeah, and again, it was just because of the image rights. Like I mean, whatever money it was for the image rights, whether it was like 15 million or 20 million, like what does that look like now? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so like Son, Kane, Dybala,
be unbelievable. Like Dybala is a top player.
Yeah, but that's just it. We need that top player. We've never signed a top player, if you get me.
You've made them, but you've never.
Yes, yeah. We brought in players that turned out to be top players. Yeah. But like the problem with Spurs' like transfer policy is like Son is the perfect example of the exact approach or the exact outcome that Spurs board want from a transfer. They want to sign somebody for little money, but that will massively improve the club's profile, South Korea. And then his attitude, again, he's very like commercially pleasing and commercially approachable and things like that. He's like a role model in that sense. Bergwijn, the same, young, exciting winger with the potential for high resale value. He has the exposure, like he has his trademark celebration. He had the exposure where like Sony did the big mural of him for FIFA 21 and all that. And so Bergwijn, they're looking to like make a project player out of him.
Yeah.
And I think that's always the model with us, is that we've tried to do that too many times with Juan Foyt, he's still only like 22, I think. So I mean, he still could potentially be a good player, but like Clinton and G, George Kevin and Kudu, Lewis Holtby, if you go back that far, we signed all these like young, like promising players for like very little money in the hope that like if we sign enough of them, one of them will be good.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's I think it's just the way Levy is. Like, there's one transfer he absolutely broke my heart years ago. When he wouldn't leave. Remember Chelsea and Modric? Like, love Modric so much even back then before he went to Madrid. Like, and like he's very stern in that sense. Like, as in dealing out the way. Like it helps dealing out the way because you can make more money. But for players coming in, like, you could miss out on the likes of the ball and that, and it could cost you. Like,
like he will. I don't see Spurs making a marquee signing.
Yeah,
you know, and like that's and it isn't a case of like, I know like there's the whole like, oh, Spurs don't have the money. Joe Lewis is worth $5 billion.
Yeah, it's there. Like, and
we have the money. We like Spurs have made record profits over the last 4 or 5 years. Like, the money's there, but it's not the model.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't know. The transfers we did last summer, I think everyone was really happy with them. Even and I was very, very happy with them.
Yeah.
But they were to basically steady the ship.
Yeah, and fill out the squad, like make sure you've like good options in every position. That I was thinking, but like if Mourinho doesn't last the year, like, and I just think that if Levy doesn't make a marquee signing under Mourinho, like, who's he going to make one for? Like, it's like the name Mourinho has and everything, and like obviously bringing in Mourinho, you think you're going to build, you're going to like the team's going to improve that much, and you're going to be challenging for stuff. Like, I just think if you bring in Mourinho, a lot of clubs try to back him. Like, and I just think if Levy isn't going to bring in the marquee sign, I know Bale, like he'd probably class Bale as a marquee sign. I know he's coming back and he's been around with a long time and that. Like, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Said about Ben White there as well. Like,
yeah,
I think Ben White looks a great defender, but he would be another Joe Rodon for us.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah,
you know, so we have our Ben White, but what we need now is the leader to like bring on Joe Rodon, show him the ropes.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of clubs are lacking the leader there. A lot of clubs have that Joe Rodon, but they just don't have a centre half to play beside him that suits him. Like, like with Liverpool, even I know before Van Dijk came in, I know they keep the likes of Joe Gomez not there, but when Van Dijk's not on, Gomez can be very, very dodgy.
I was just going to say, like, Joe Gomez is the player he is because of Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Like if Van Dijk, if Joe Gomez was fit and he was playing beside Matip or whatever, like, he wouldn't be as good a defender as he is beside Van Dijk.
Yeah,
you know, and
definitely.
I think that's what's shown clubs like invest in your defenders. Like, and I know like City have taken it to the extreme with what they've done, but I think like they've finally found their man. Like, you know, and I think John Stones this season has just been immense as well.
Yeah, no, he's been very good. Like you're saying, like there was a possibility of him going to Spurs there in the summer, and like looking back on it now,
25 million, I think.
Yeah, if you look back on it now, like it would have been buzzing with that, with how he's been playing this year, and it's unbelievable. Like, just like we were touching on there, like that centre half can make the other centre half so much better, like, or could make it worse. Like if you have like a David Luiz beside you, could be worse. Like the Arsenal centre half, like but no, I suppose we'll move on from that, and we'll talk about the upcoming fixtures for each of our clubs and like kind of how it'll shape up kind of towards the top four and fourth spot in that. Well, this is the next few fixtures for Chelsea. Kind of like I know there's no easy games in the Premier League now anymore, but like if I had to have a run of games for the next kind of three, the three that Chelsea have is kind of like they're suitable. If you can pick up a few points here and there and hope the rest drop points before you come into your tough run. So we have Sheffield United away Sunday night, which United found out last week they can be tricky customers. Like last season, they had a brilliant season, very well organised. I really like Chris Wilder. I don't know what's going on there this year, how they're so low down the table, but
we all basically last year we all said he was our manager of the year. Like
yeah,
honest,
yeah, no, he's brilliant. He actually came out at the press conference today. I seen it, and he criticised the owner a small bit, saying that he wanted 2 or 3 targets and the owner went against him and stuff. And he said that he's just not a yes man, but he said he'd get on with it. But I'm just hoping now they've got a small bit of a run together, Sheffield. But who's been playing really well for him is Ampadu, who's on loan from us, but he can't play now on Sunday. So I'm hoping, like I know it's only one player, but one player of the system could make that bit of a difference, and hopefully they won't be as tight at the back now, and we can open them up because, like I said against Spurs, and like game could have went either way. And what killed me was that Chelsea just can't kill off the game. Same with Burnley, it took us the 86th minute, and we couldn't get that goal against Wolves. But I just think against one of the teams coming up that we will hit 4 or 5 in a game. It's going to happen. We're going to be there's going to be a couple of games where we're not going to be able to kill it off, and there's going to be 1 or 2 where we're going to be hitting things for 4 or 5, and it could cost us points in the end, not being able to kill off some of the teams. But we have Sheffield United Sunday now, so hopefully that.
But that was a big thing for us as well, though, Sean. Was like the going 1-0 up and not trying to get 2-0 up.
You were notorious for this year, like early on. Like,
yeah. So like I mean, I completely get that. But like if you look at last night when you went 1-0 up, like you were still trying things.
Yeah.
Like it just like I think I seen a thing today. I think you've had an average of 70% possession in your last 3 games.
Yeah,
I think the Spurs game was your lowest possession.
Definitely.
But none of your forwards have scored.
Yeah, it's all defenders and then Jorginho penalty. So yeah. I think a lot of.
What do you think that is, though?
It's hard to put your finger on one thing. Like I just think a lot of the system that we're playing right now is dependent on the attack midfielders. So there's 2 there, like there's like winger / cams, like and like what Kane does, like was doing all year as far as where he was dropping deep, where he got so many assists and that's what I think the strikers is supposed to be doing in Tuchel's system, and those 2 attacking mids are supposed to be on the last man and making runs over the top for true balls and that. And I said it in the group chat a couple of times, even the Burnley and Spurs game, Mount has been fantastic, but the one thing that has been letting down is his end product and that. And I just think Chelsea, the confidence isn't there yet. They were so bad, like under the last couple of weeks under Lampard and that, and the confidence has been completely hit. But I think it will eventually come back. I think we will start seeing a few goals, but at the minute, like you said, they have all the ball. They're not creating too much, but I just think it's a fact of getting used to Tuchel's system and that, and hopefully we're fine. Like it won't be as rough on the edges, and we'll be creating them chances. But that will be actually tested on Sunday night now, because Sheffield's, like I know they've had a bad enough year, but they're usually well organised under Wilder, and they usually play the 5 at the back. So we'll see if we can break them down as well. And then you don't get much bigger tests for tough teams to break down than Atletico Madrid. Then will be coming in February as well, so that'll be a massive test. But yeah, we've Sheffield away, Barnsley in the FA Cup. That'll be just I imagine he might try and use his normal formation, the 4-2-2 and that, and just give it a run, see what it's like in that game. And then we've
perfect opportunity for him to.
That's what I was thinking
with the Chelsea players.
Yeah, because like I was looking at it yesterday against Spurs. Like, why would you change it against a top team like Spurs? Just keep it the way when we're winning the few games. So
yeah, and it's not disrespectful. Like I mean, like you're expected to win that game. Like,
yeah, of course. Like
if he put out like even like your bench, in that game, you're expected to win it. So he'll probably just like to see how that squad of players act in a 4-2-2-2.
Yeah, see what way they play it. I suppose give players will run. And he probably won't. He'll probably give them a bit of guidance and training during the week before that, and then just leave them out and see what they do. In that, and he can kind of get an idea of what he needs to do to be able to play that formation.
How do you think he played that? Like we say, with when like Chelsea kind of like they enjoy a lot of width.
Yeah,
and you do play a lot. Like last night, for example, like a lot of your play was down the wing, right in the top of the fullbacks. How do you think you'll adapt to playing kind of
narrow? Yeah, like if you asked me when Tuchel was coming in, I would have preferred to play the 4-2-2. But like you're saying there, I'd rather stick with the three at the back now and keep that width. And the main reason being is we really don't have a top centre forward. Like Abraham is too raw. I don't think he'll ever be a striker for a title-winning team or a team pushing for a title. Giroud is on the way out in the summer.
He reminds me. He really reminds me of a Sturridge.
Yeah, no, completely. Yeah. That's actually it's a fair comparison. Like, yeah, just like he's a good option to have off the bench to bring on Nick goal and that. But I just don't think he should ever be a starting striker for a top team. Giroud obviously is a very good player, but he's 34 now, moving on to summer. And Werner, if you're playing the two, like it suits Werner, but you're going to need another player to play up top with him, and we don't have anyone else at the moment to do that, I don't think. But he hasn't even been firing anyway as of yet. So I'd rather stick with the three at the back. But come to your point, you just don't know, like the player. Like he'll be kind of. We have so many good wide players now between like Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi, and Ziyech plays out there as well. That 4-2-2-2 mightn't make too much sense. Like if you're going to be. You go kind of like obviously Ziyech might be able to play in the cam, but Mount and Havertz are the other two options, and then like where does that leave Hudson-Odoi, who's being our best player in 2 of the 3 games?
Is that going to upset too many people as well? Like but
yeah, I think he might try and stick with the 3 for the rest of the season. Then he'll probably have a look in the summer, like of who they're bringing in or who's going and that. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And with the width and how they adjust to it, it's hard to call that one. Like, and maybe it's just better off staying the way it is as of now for the rest of the season, just get over the line, like. So if you want, we'll look at Spurs next week fixtures. You're saying you have a tough one next week. It's City next week, is it as well? So if you want to touch on
we're home, like, and it's the early kickoff as well, which that's what's killing me on Sunday against West Brom at home.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like the only thing I go for is that Sam Allardyce has never beaten Jose Mourinho. And then we've Everton away for the FA Cup, which we know Mourinho will be taken seriously, like so.
Yeah.
And then next Saturday we're the evening kickoff, I think, for City away, and like I think Pep, especially after the 2-0
this year,
he'll be. Pep will be really, really further, and of course, then the added spice to the game is the fact that like that's the League Cup final as well, like So
yeah.
Both teams will be sussing each other out. Like I think, if you include the Brighton game and the Chelsea game, I think we've like 20. I think there's 9 games in 29 days. So we have. Yeah, so we've City next week, and then we have the first leg of the Europa League. Then we're away to West Ham, which I'm dreading.
Yeah, that's
Like even if West Ham were their usual bottom, like scraping relegation shit, they'd always show up against Spurs, always.
Yeah, and
those
kind of teams that I kind of fear coming out of it. Even if you do win, like there's a possibility of picking up 1 or 2 injuries there. Like
exactly, yeah. And then we have the second leg of the Europa League. We're home in the second leg at least, which is decent. Like, but then like we've Burnley, Palace, and Arsenal.
Yeah, so three kind of bottom teams there. Hopefully, you can pick up wins. But I know, but like, and I've been taking the piss out of Arsenal now, but they're 3 kind of teams where they'll probably be well organised. Like,
yeah.
So it can be tough to break down because like, we do know Arsenal the way kind of they set up under Arteta. Like,
yeah, I think the only thing kind of like Mourinho said in his conference today, and he said that like points are just points; they're just numbers. What matters is the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I don't think like firing him now achieves nothing.
Yeah.
you know, so like just if we are going to give him the boot, at least just keep him there now until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like, but our run in, like we've Leicester away in the last day of the season. That could potentially be that could be a big game.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
that could decide a lot of things for a couple of teams, not just Spurs and Leicester.
Yeah,
you know, but like in the run up to that, we have like Fulham, Sheffield United, Leeds, Wolves, and Aston Villa, and then we have Leicester. So, do you know what I mean? So we have an okay run in, like say from mid-April. I think we've United. We've Man United at home on the 10th of April, and after that, we don't have another Big Six club.
You should see our last 4 games. Very, very tough. That's what I'm hoping if we can get a run together and like try and build up a bit of momentum before we have a 4th last game. We're away to City, then we're home to Arsenal, home to Leicester, and then we're away to Villa on the last day. And if Villa can stay thereabouts come the end of the season, like they'll obviously be fighting. So it's gonna be a tough run in for Chelsea, like.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean like anyone at the moment. Like if you're looking at, I was going to say top 10, but you could even say like top 12 or even like 13. Like any of those clubs could still realistically be looking at a Europa League place.
Yeah, European. Yeah, getting into Europe. Yeah, Wolves they might come back. Like David Popper's in the forward now when him is not there, so they might make a bit of a push back up the table as well. They're playing Leicester this weekend.
He looked decent against Arsenal, to be fair.
Yeah. It just that option that they didn't have when Jimenez was injured to have up there, play the ball too, like because Jimenez added a lot to that team, like just for his whole to play alone. But they're playing Leicester now the weekend, so hopefully I'd like to see him taking points off Leicester, like.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So just we'll go on to like the last topic that we're gonna speak about there, just about like from now until the end of the season. Like obviously at the start of the year we probably would have different expectations of our clubs, but from now until the end of the year, what would you like to see happen with Spurs, or what would you like to see Spurs do or get a run in the Europa League?
Yeah, like my aspirations still haven't changed from the start of the season. Like if you take away like the fact that, like, say, yes, we've lost 3 Premier League games on the trot, first time since 2012, blah, blah, whatever. We're still in all competitions. Like, we're in the knockout stage of the Europa League with a very favourable draw, let's be honest. We're in the League Cup final. We're playing Everton away. Like, that could have been a lot worse. You know, it's a winnable game. Then, like, we're... Okay, fair enough. Like we're in 8th, but realistically, like we're 7 points away from 4th with a game in hand.
Look at hand, yeah.
You know, so there could be big swings there, like, you know. So for me, for Spurs for the rest of the season, I would just, as I said earlier on, I would just like to see us just put more intensity into the games and just try and just kind of put a little bit more emphasis on attack. I think we will. I think Jose has realised that, but he just doesn't right now have players available to do so.
Yeah.
But yeah, like goals, top 4 and a cup, maybe.
And a cup, yeah.
Take one.
No, that's a cup would be very good for Spurs. Like obviously, you know, like the way people talk over the years that you haven't just won enough. Even if it's the Carabao Cup, like. It'd be perfect. Good, like stepping stone and Mourinho and that. Like
it's exactly like, I mean, that's what, like, as I said, I think on the previous podcast, I said like the Carling Cup, like to me, it means very little.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like achievement and that, but like for the players stepping up onto the podium and whatever and celebrating winning a cup, that's the winning. They get the feeling of winning.
Yeah,
and then they'll want that again. You know, like Lloris, I'm sure is probably is telling them. I mean, he's won the World Cup, so he'll know all about it. You know, so I think realistically, a cup, top 4, ideally, but I'm not too confident in it. But look, if we win the Europa League, I take it.
Yeah, that's another way in, like you're saying, yeah. And it's very possible, like. just there's a few handy teams in it this year now. Like I think the team United drawn Sociedad are fairly decent.
Yeah,
they're decent.
they're by no means
yeah,
an easy game, like, you know.
yeah. And then obviously United are handy enough, and you have Yi in it. But like say Ajax now with the whole fiasco with Haller not being registered and Onana out now, I think they've been weakened a lot. I think are Napoli in it? Inter Milan.
That Haller thing, it was mental, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an absolute joke. Like a club run as well as Ajax usually, like, and just to do that, it's,
yeah.
It's baffling.
Van der Sar's already going off his head, like.
Yeah, it's baffling. Like.
But yeah, we're saying, like, I mean, but there's even like, I mean, like you've AC Milan, like who have they're doing all right this season. To be fair to them, like,
yeah. Thing with them, if they're still in the title race, will they be kind of putting all their eggs into that basket?
That's the same thing I was just about to say to you as well about Leicester. That could be a big factor in their Premier League run. Like, because what I will say for Spurs is that this season we do have the bit of depth to rotate. Leicester don't.
Yeah.
Leicester are very like Liverpool in terms of they have a very, very good first starting 11.
Yeah. And like the way Leicester play, that really impresses me is, like you're saying, at Leeds, a lot of running, they'll do everything like for the team and that. Like, will they eventually burn out? I wonder if they have a small squad. Like, I know the same thing is said about them every year, but I'm hoping it happens this year now with us and like Chelsea and Spurs chasing them. Like, I think it's our best hope if that does happen of getting top four.
Yeah, I mean, like, I suppose if you're looking at like potential like outsider, I know like Roma, like you'd never really write them off. They're not great this season, but you still wouldn't write them off. Leverkusen, you know, so but I still think like that it's plausible that we could go all the way.
At least you got the easy team coming down of the Champions League from PSG's group. Could have been a lot worse.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I don't know. It's like this season. It's like it's Jose. Things that have fallen into place for him in the cups. Like like everything's fallen to shit in the league, but in the cups we've gotten like all the favourable draws. Like against like Chelsea, like we won on penalties. Yeah. So like the semi-final draws, then like we got Brentford. Mm-hmm. You know, then we went to the FA Cup. We got Marine. Like
so it's that's
so fair enough. It's Everton now, but again,
he's on with the PSG group there.
Yeah.
That's it. I was only speaking truth, Rainey. No, like I know Leipzig are kind of like they can be open in that, but like they're not no easy team. Like, so I'm not sure if you'd rather have United in the Europa League or like a PSG or Leipzig, like, but just for like from now until the end of the season, my expectations will be slightly different to the start of the year. The start of the year with the summer we had, like I would have rather been like I didn't expect us to win the league. I would have said in the Premier League preview and that, but like I expected us to be up to it with Man City and Liverpool, and that was before Van Dijk got injured. If you tell me the start of the year Van Dijk would have been injured and a few other Liverpool players, I would have expected to have been top 2, 3 kind of like least with like battling with Liverpool and City basically, like, and it just hasn't gone that way at all. Right now, obviously, I have a bit of confidence with Tuchel and that there. Just kind of hoping we can get that top 4 spot. I was saying a run in the FA Cup because it's hard to it's hard to say when there's a lot of good teams still left in it. With City, even United, a Yi as well. I know Liverpool are gone, but a run in that, hopefully, a run into the later stages of the competition, and then a run in the Champions League. I'm not expecting to win it, but like I said earlier, if you can get past Atletico, who knows what happens, but I think Munich and City will be fairly strong in it this year. Like, just apart from that, I don't think there's many teams you can just pick out and say, because I think Juventus have been poor, PSG haven't been the same. Like Liverpool have the injuries. Like, obviously they have a good team, but without Van Dijk, it can make a big difference in Europe. So anything can happen there. But I just think when I was thinking of it, like kind of my main thing is just to see the Chelsea team have have a plan and like have a system that's going to suit them, and you can kind of tell what you're going to do going into the summer under Tuchel, that he's staying, and that you know what you're going to bring in, you know what you're going to be doing next year and hoping to be doing. That's kind of my main plan, because I didn't see that with Lampard. I just didn't know what direction we were going to go or what was going to happen. Like, and just couldn't see where we were going to go in the next season or two. But under Tuchel, I can kind of see it coming together now, and that's the main thing, just having identity and stuff, and build on it again next summer. Go from there, because it just didn't happen after this summer, like, and it should have.
Yeah, like I guess, I mean, I know we said a couple of times in pre-season podcasts we were a bit skeptical about Lampard, but the Chelsea squad was kind of the quality that was undeniable.
Yeah.
Like I think like all the stuff that you were kind of saying earlier on about Tuchel and all that, like, is what I believe will be all the qualities that Lampard will have in 15 years.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he really did himself a disservice by going to Chelsea, but I understand he could never turn it down.
Yeah. No, that's so literally to a
I
T,
think,
yeah.
And I think the problem for him now is his next club. Because he went to a club like Chelsea. Where does he go? Like, he while you'll see an awful lot of like continental managers coming to the Premier League, you'll never really see Premier League managers going.
Yeah.
Abroad,
And an interesting thing, I was listening to a podcast last week with Fabrizio Romano, like, and he's a big fan of Lampard and stuff, but he says from like his contacts around Europe and that there's a lot of European clubs that really rate Lampard and have an interest in him, but he said there's a trend. There's no top clubs, but it's all clubs that like they're kind of pushing to get into European places and stuff. So not trying to make a name for themselves. It's those kind of clubs, but it's just it'll be interesting to see if Lampard would, like you said, an English manager would go over there.
Can you imagine Lampard? Like I could just never imagine Lampard like trying to learn a foreign language.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it actually. Did you ever see the IQ he has? He done like an IQ test. It's unbelievable. Like, he's such an intelligent man. Like, but like, it's just it'd be so weird to see him managing a foreign, like.
Yeah, because it's something that always, like, from the youngest of ages, that was something that always fascinated me, was like the lack of like English players that go abroad.
Yeah,
and I think in recent seasons you're starting to see it now with the younger players going, so like Sancho, like Bellingham.
We lost a very
Marcus
good
Edwards from Spurs.
Yeah, we lost a very good player to Munich as well. Musiala from our youth team, he went over to Munich. He's English as well, so.
And Jaman, what's the guy for Leverkusen? We let him go from our academy. He's at the scoring left, right, and centre this season. I can't think of it. That's going to kill me now.
Very unusual transfer as well, actually. They signed someone the other day. They got Damari Gray off Leicester.
Yeah, and Spurs were actually rumoured to be looking at him as well. But like 2 million.
That's a steal. Like I know obviously he's not like top tier, but I think he's a very good squad player to have around. Like,
absolutely,
he can definitely do a job.
Yeah, he definitely would have been a player that I think would have been okay at Spurs, like, as a backup, like, you know.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. No, I'm trying to think of this player that Leverkusen got a fee now, because that'll bug me as well. Jack Rolls.
No, he's not going to Leverkusen. Is it even Leverkusen? We even think it. It's going to kill me now. So it is.
Yeah, I have to find out, because that'll bug me as well. Like, it's just because there's so little players go over there that, like, I should know it. Like, but yeah, like you're touching on there, like, just it's so unusual to see English players or managers go out foreign. But I'd like to see Lampard give it a try. Like the last time we know went over there was Gary Neville, and we know how that went. Like, but
yeah, like, but it was always over the years, always the way, really, wasn't it? With clubs, like, it's just a case of English players and managers stayed in England.
Yeah,
the odd one went abroad. I mean, obviously, you had like the likes of Lineker and that back in the day in Barcelona and that. Like, but
Bobby Robson was over there coaching one day. Coaching like, but no, it's very unusual. Like, but no, just that's my expectations on Chelsea anyway. Just make a push for top 4 and get runs in the cup, and then start again the summer. Not even rebuild, because we have done a rebuild, but just build on what we have done this summer and this year, and hopefully have a squad next year capable of mounting a challenge for the title at least.
Yeah, it's not Jack Rose. No, he went to a League 2 club, I think, just there recently. But yeah, like I still think, like, I've never written off Chelsea from the get go. Like, I think you'd be foolish to rule them out anyway. Like, you know, but I strongly believe you'll be knocking on the door of that top 4.
Yeah, definitely this season. Yeah. And look, with Tuchel there for the summer and next year, hopefully guaranteed top 4.
I thought you were saying next year, hopefully. That, like, you still know in Chelsea they could fire him before then.
No, that's because, like, obviously I think he'll be given the chance in that, but there's you see like a lot of stupid stuff on Twitter and that about if he's has to get top 4 and stuff. But I just don't think that's the case. I think they gave him the 18-month contract with the option of a year extension. Like, that's to see out next year. If you enter through a bad spell next year again, you know how ruthless Abramovich is, but I don't think Tuchel will do that. Like I don't expect straight up a guaranteed title out of him, but at least the title run next year. With what Chelsea provided their managers, like player wise and like finance wise and stuff. Like, obviously, like you were saying earlier with Spurs, like leaving that, like what he offers doesn't really compete with the likes of Chelsea and United and that financially, bringing players in and that, and like kind of that quality. But like with Chelsea, you're under that pressure as well. Once that, like you seen with Lampard, once you're backed financially, like.
Yeah, like I guess I think, and it's funny too. So like that, I was just thinking that maybe the investment that Chelsea were making in the players wasn't necessarily to have them there for Lampard, but to have them there for Chelsea.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And like I feel like a lot of, so if you look at, like, so we have kept Jelly there, and I think a lot of that was there. I think Daniel Levy wouldn't sanction the move because he probably thinks that, well, Delhi will be there long after.
Yeah,
Jose will.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of reports coming out after Lampard left, just about when he was appointed. He actually wasn't the first choice. Mourinho and that wanted someone else, and it was actually as early as the summer just gone that there was like talks on the board and that of getting rid, even though he had done well in the season before. And that, it came out. There's a lot of reports there with Matt Law and that. So like there was talks during the summer, so it started then and it just built up throughout the year, and that Mourinho didn't want him there. And I don't think Tuchel was even a lot of the board's first choice. It was Mourinho wanted Tuchel and Abramovich, but the rest of them wanted to hold off and wait for Nagelsmann in the summer. But Mourinho got away again. Just kind of like, I know she gets a lot of praise. She's an absolute genius, like selling players, and she does her job getting players in. But I think she deserves a small bit of criticism for kind of like putting it on the football side. Like some of the decisions, like it has to be her. Like she's making final decisions and stuff, and some of them are slightly dodgy. But like she's getting it right more often than wrong. But I just think that a sporting director is badly needed in there. Like, it's like a lot of people say, "Oh, Czech is a sporting director," but he's not. He's a technical advisor and that. Like, and they just need to get that sporting director. And they actually offered the manager's job first to that Ralph Rangnick on an interim basis until the end of the season to bring Nagelsmann in the summer. Then that was the original offer, but he turned it down. You see, what he done was he was over Leipzig and Salzburg, and when he made way for the other managers, he became the sporting director there then, and he literally built Red Bull up from the ground in that. So I think that could have been the plan, but he turned it down. Obviously, it was a straight up no for him. So we'll just see what direction Chelsea are taking. I wonder, are they trying to shoehorn Czech into that director of football role? But even in the reports, I was surprised to hear it actually. Czech and Lampard supposedly fell out as well. that was one of the big fallouts between the board and the manager and that. But it just all went wrong for Lampard in the end. So yeah, we kick on anyway under Tuchel, and hopefully top 4 is a possibility by the end of the year and build on it in the summer, because that money from the Champions League is well needed with the big outlay Chelsea made in the summer.
Yeah,
it's definitely needed. So yeah, no, we've covered all the topics. We went over the game last night and how we were feeling about it. Like,
you said we struggled between the two. It was around for an hour and a half.
Yeah. But no, it's definitely. I thought it was a great chat, and it's always good to talk after a derby. I know it's not always good when your team's on the losing side.
Spurs and Chelsea fan to sit there and talk amicably for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Might have been different if the result was the other way around, but you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. So hopefully now good results for both teams over the weekend. Obviously, we don't want each other's teams to win, but I think we're hoping ourselves, and we get pick up the points over the weekend, get that momentum to go back towards top 4, and hopefully knock someone out of it.
Make it more interesting, at least. I know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because there's a couple of teams in that top 4 that I just don't want in there.
Yeah, that's probably it. You know, that it's like that. We don't want each other's teams to do well, but we'd like to see each other's teams force other teams that we don't like out of the top 4.
Out of the top 4, yeah. Just two teams in particular there. Yeah. No, definitely. And it was good chatting on it. And
good man.
Do we have any more shows coming up? I think
the lads are doing their United show. They're just kicking off there now as well.
Yeah, 9 p.m. The Devil's Advocate. Yeah. So everyone, make sure to tune into that, and make sure you like and subscribe to the weekly Armchair Kickoff. You can see underneath our images there. You can see our Twitter handles. If you all want to follow our accounts and make sure to see some dodgy football and opinions and join in on the crack. And yeah, if you always want to interact in football, we're always talking about football on Twitter. We're always interested and open for a chat.
I'm happy to argue with anyone.
Yeah, no, definitely Steve. You see from Steve's Twitter. Yeah, he's well up for it. But Jenny, thanks everyone for watching, and
cheers,
and have a good night. Thanks, Steve.
Good luck.